Have you ever listened to one of your favorite podcasters and then you watch the video and you realize that the person that you were listening to isn't anything like the person you saw in the video? This is probably in large part due to their body language. Stay tuned on Moxie Talk. We are going to discuss powerful body language for on-camera opportunities. Stay tuned. Hi everyone, I'm Fia Fastbinder and welcome to Moxie Talk, where we help you find your voice, share your message, and lead with confidence. Today we are talking about powerful body language to deliver on camera, whether that is a YouTube video, an interview, a webinar, a TV appearance. Delivering on camera is a skill that is difficult for anyone to master, and it is so different than delivering your message in person. So before I go into the specific techniques, I want to introduce an idea that I share with all my clients, which is that there are 4 steps to mastering any new skill. And if you understand this, you can be patient with yourself that it's going to take some time to master this new skill. And delivering on camera is a new skill. So the first step to mastering any new skill is what we call unconscious incompetence, which means I don't even know I'm not doing that skill. The next step is conscious incompetence, which means I know I'm not doing it, but I can't start doing it yet. I don't have the skills yet to do it. The third step is what we call conscious competence, which means I can do it, but I have to think a lot about it. And the fourth step, which is mastery, is I don't even think about it anymore. And that's called unconscious competence. So with on-camera delivery, this could be anything from eye contact to fixing body language to hand gestures. All of it takes time to master. So please be patient with yourself. Don't expect to watch this video and go from A to Z overnight. It takes some time to go through those 4 phases. So let's get into the specific techniques now. We are going to talk about everything from avoiding eye contact to avoiding facial expressions to using distracting gestures or pacing or moving randomly in the space. Now, all of these are also problems on stage or in person, but the way you fix this problem on camera is very different, and there is one reason for that. When you present on camera to be viewed through somebody's computer or TV screen or Jumbotron, you take up the entire frame. Whether it is your face or a half body shot or even a full body shot, you are larger than life on camera. Think about it. When you present in person on a stage, if you're keynoting at a conference, or even in a boardroom, there is a lot of things going on around you. You do not take up the entire space like some giant. So the way we approach body language on camera is very different. So let's start with eye contact and facial expression. Everybody knows that eye contact is a good thing, but where the heck do you look on camera? There's a hard and fast rule, which is if you look into the camera, it gives the appearance that you are looking directly into the viewer's eyes, just like I'm doing right now. But it's not always that easy. I get it. Some of us have dual monitors. Some of us have talking points or teleprompters or notes that are not right under the camera. Some of us are presenting in a hybrid atmosphere where there's live audience members and also somebody is recording you. All of these situations make it difficult. Here's the thing. If it is important that you make eye contact with the person on the other side of that screen, because the video is the most important, you've got to find where the camera lens is and look into it at least 80% of the time. I coach for TED Talks, and I will tell you, it's important in this hybrid atmosphere to engage the live audience, but the video is what's most important. The video is what makes a TED Talk go viral. Now, if you were in person at most TEDx talks, you would notice that there are comfort monitors directly underneath the speaker on the ground. And every once in a while, you'll see the speakers go like this. But if you're watching the video, it looks horrible. All of a sudden, they've just looked down and disconnected from you as the viewer. Keep this in mind. Make sure that you are looking into the camera, if possible, 100% of the time. If not possible, go for the 80-20 rule, which is 20% of your time with the audience in person and 80% of your time looking into that camera. I know it's difficult, but remember, eye contact is the window to your soul, and eye contact is the nonverbal equivalent of saying somebody's name. So simply by looking into the camera lens, you're connecting with the viewer. Now, facial expression is no different. Lack of facial expression is a problem in person, but it is a bigger problem on camera because think about how big your face is on that camera. If you're not smiling or you look stoic or angry and that is not the feeling you want to give your viewer, you need to be aware of this. A lot of us drop our smile or don't even realize that we've never had a smile because we're thinking about things. But on camera, if you have no facial expression, this can give your audience the perception that you're not worthy of their trust, or you're not a warm person, or you're not happy to be there. And it doesn't have to be this fake permagrin. In fact, I would recommend against that because, again, your face is this big, and if you just have this fake cheesy smile, it's not going to resonate with your audience. But they should be able to tell from your face that you are joyous to be there, that you are excited to be there, that you are happy to be sharing your message. So whatever that means to you, but make sure you have facial expressions. Now, there is something called mirror neurons that I want to talk about for a second, which means when we see somebody do something, we unconsciously mirror that behavior. Now, this is an instinct that we got as babies. Think about it. When your mom looked scared or terrified as a baby, you knew something was wrong. If your mom smiled at you, you knew everything was okay. And human adults are no different. If we see somebody passionate, we feel that passion. If we see somebody in love, we feel that love. If we see somebody crying and we don't even know why they're crying, we start to feel anxious. So if you want your viewer to mirror the behavior that you are exhibiting, make sure it's behavior that's positive. And that's all I'm going to say about facial expression and eye contact, other than to know when you do give that smile and that eye contact and your viewer is mirroring it and connecting with you, they are connecting because of a different neurochemistry that you are creating in their brain, which is a release of dopamine, serotonin, all these feel-good hormones, and also oxytocin, which is our bonding chemical. It's the chemical that babies and mothers release when they're nursing. So mirror neurons, a lot of good feel hormones, that's what happens to your viewer when you have a smile. Now we've talked about facial expression, we've talked about eye contact. Now we're going to move on to some problems with your actual body, hand gestures and closed off body language and small body language. Again, anybody knows that closing your arms off causes a distrust in the person that is across from you viewing that. Whether they think they can't trust you, or you might be angry, or you're unhappy about something, arms closed off is a universal sign of disconnect. Open body language, open hand gestures is a universal sign of connection. I have nothing to hide. I'm open. I'm excited to be here. Top that with powerful body language by not making yourself small, like this or like this, gives the impression to your viewer that you're happy to be there and you're confident with your delivery. This is what we call power posing. And if anybody's watched Amy Cuddy's TED Talk on power posing, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't watched Amy Cuddy's TED Talk on power posing, I highly recommend it. Also, take a view of some of the videos that I've done about power posing and how to have confident body language. So I'm not going to take a deep dive in this video on the how to have confident body language, but more high level about powerful body language on camera, which is 3 things to remember. Open your hand gestures so you're not closing off your body. Make sure you're not making your body small by slouching or hunching over a desk if you're sitting. And also make sure that you are lengthening your spinal cord by imagining an invisible string that connects to the middle of your head and the other end connects to the ceiling. Now, whether you are seated for your presentation or your interview or standing, it is possible to do this kind of body language. It is possible to open and to lengthen and to do what I call presentation power pose. I've worked with tons of clients that do seated presentations, especially in this day and age. And I can tell you that it is possible to appear confident simply by doing presentation power posing. I will say, however, if it is possible for you to stand, if you're doing your own videos and you can set your camera up so that you can stand, there is an energy that comes from standing that is very different from sitting. And I would encourage you to try it. Every single client that I've helped move their camera setup so they can stand finds it to be invigorating, energizing, and their viewers definitely feel that way about them as well. Last but not least, along with confident power posing is grounding yourself. Obviously, we want to appear grounded in our TV appearances, in our videos, in our interviews. And there is a really simple way to do this. Literally, feel the ground beneath you. Wiggle your toes in your shoes if you're wearing them, and feel the ground beneath you. There was a recent study that came out in a Harvard Business Review that said people that actually touch the ground with their feet when they're presenting, even seated, which is much harder to do, release hormones that are relaxing and calming into their body, specifically serotonin, which is our calming hormone, simply by feeling the ground beneath us. Why is this? I think it has something to do with coming to the present moment, and that's what I tell my clients. When you focus on the physical, like focusing on feeling the ground beneath you, you are in the present moment. And worry and anxiety does not exist in the present moment. When we worry about something or we are anxious about something, we are in the future or in the past. So simply by feeling the ground beneath us, we come to the present moment. So, no closed off body language, no small body language. Instead, confident, grounded body language by opening, lengthening, and feeling the ground beneath us. Now, let's move on to hand gestures. Hand gestures are one of those funny things that we never think about until we're nervous. And then we start to think a lot about our hand gestures. And I always ask my clients, do you have any idea what your hands are doing in everyday conversation? And they say no, because your hands are just an extension of your communication. We start to think about what to do with our hands when we're nervous. So I would say, in general, make sure you are not doing distracting, repetitive hand gestures. Sometimes I have clients that do this, kind of like Barney the Purple Dinosaur. Or they'll start to fiddle with things because they're nervous, or they start to put their hands in their pockets and do no hand gestures. All of these can be eliminated simply by thinking about this. Put your hands at your side and only bring them up when you absolutely have to gesture. That is a way to make sure you are not distracting your audience with your hand gestures. The other technique is what I call developing a gesticular vocabulary. I know that's a mouthful, but what this basically means is thinking about hand gestures that you can use in your presentation that will aid in the look and the visual of your presentation and not be distracting. For instance, 1, 2, 3, up and down, back and forward, left to right, things flying or getting bigger and then smaller. All of these are gestures that I can use if I give the same presentation over and over that will make sure I am not distracting my audience. Last but not least, last technique, but definitely not the least, is not only repetitive hand gestures that are distracting, but repetitive body language. I have clients that will do this on camera, and it seems like they're rocking on a boat, and it makes me feel like I'm gonna get nauseous if I keep watching them. And on camera, this looks really horrible, even worse than in person. Or they don't stay in the camera frame and they're moving around like this. And you see what happens when I'm moving around like this. I am out of the frame. You are going to make your camera person, if there is one, very angry if you go out of the frame. Or you stay in the frame and you're taking little steps back and forth like this. I call this spider feet. And I have TED speakers that do this all the time. Even on that little red circle, they're moving back and forth like this. And it's really distracting from your powerful message if you're moving back and forth like this. So the grounding that I recommended earlier will really help with this. Really ground yourself. If you have to, imagine roots growing from the soles of your shoes that are holding you in that place. On video, you really don't have to move a lot unless you are walking into the camera frame or the video producer has told you that you need to move on the stage because it's a hybrid presentation, like a TED Talk. Otherwise, I highly recommend stand in one place, ground yourself, let all of that energy go into your body and your voice and your facial expressions. So I know I've covered a lot of techniques for on-camera delivery today. If nothing else sticks with you, remember this. If you aren't sure if your body language is distracting or is a problem or doesn't look powerful, record yourself and watch it back. So important, people. It is the most accurate, objective view of yourself that you'll ever get. It is the closest you'll get to what your viewer experiences. Now, none of us are unbiased and objective about our own delivery. We are all our worst critic. But I will say this is the most accurate rear view mirror you have. If you're not aware of what you're doing with your hands, if you're not aware if you're smiling, if you're not aware that you are wiggling on stage, illuminating these blind spots so that you can correct them is so crucial. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you can see a ton more videos like this, and like it and share it with your friends. And if you're interested in learning more about Moxie Institute and our presentation skills training agency, check out moxieinstitute.com. Thanks so much for watching and see you soon.